In 2006, an 18-year-old Croatian was racing his BMW at local races. Burns the motor out, takes it home, realizes he cannot afford to fix it. So what does he do? Well, he takes an electronic motor out of a forklift, sticks it in the car, and starts winning a load of races. In 2010, this same man decides he's going to be the person to build the first ever electric supercar. And in 2016, the Rimac C1 rolls off the production line. Mate Rimac's then very much one of the pioneers of super electronics and of course supercars. It's funny, there are many parallels between Rimacs in terms of the timescale and e-mountain bikes. If you think about the first high bikes, the first cubes came out around about 2012. But this then is the all-new Rimac car, the C2. I mean, look at the numbers involved here. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 1.97 seconds. 412 kilometers an hour, that's 258 miles an hour. 2,300 newton meters of torque, and 550 kilometers on one charge. Now, at the same time that Mate was rebuilding his E30 in a garage, remember, a very close friend of his, Suki, decides to build one of the first ever e-superbikes. So what do? Well, they leave the car plant exactly where it is and start off a whole new e-bike plant. Today's EMBN show then is coming to you from the Greyp headquarters here in Zagreb, Croatia. Yes, and we'll be returning to Greyp a little later on in the show. First of all, the news. Now, lots of new bikes on the horizon this week, starting off with Irish brand Vitus. Now, they've come out with new versions of their Summit and their Escarp bikes. Two differences between the bikes. First of all, the short travel bike, 140mm on the Escarp, is 27.5 in the rear, 29 at front, whereas the longer travel bike, the Summit, 160 on the rear, 170 up front, has got 27.5 wheels. Now, as we know, last year they had some really competitive prices on this bike. This year, slightly bigger range. They start off at £3,200 for the lower end bike, up to £4,999 for the top end bike. And just check out these colours. I particularly like this one, Chris.
It's so cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Nice, and meanwhile we've got news coming in from the Tokyo Motor Show where Yamaha have been displaying a concept e-bike. Now this looks super exciting, a lot of tech on there as well. Some standout features for us was the all-in-one CNC piece on the stem which houses all that information you're going to need. It's got a twin top tube as well, so it's super tech looking. It's got the PWX2 motor on there and a big inbuilt battery on there as well. I'm not too sure on the watt hours on this, but it's something that Yamaha have been working on with Gogoro, which is a battery manufacturer out in China, which is real famous for electric scooter batteries. So some interesting stuff coming from there, and the fork is a big talking point on there.
Yeah, it looks like an X-Fusion fork in there. I think it must be 160mm travel.
Yes.
But it's a classic example, isn't it, of the motorcycle manufacturers making a serious attempt at an e-mountain bike.
Yeah, no, this does look serious. It's not new for them. They've been doing e-bikes for a little while. They do an actual hardtail Yamaha mountain bike, but this is their first entry into the full suspension stuff, so it looks good. Yeah, and meanwhile back in California, now I just had these photographs in from Jeff Steber of Intense. He shows some upgrades to his current Tazer bike for some Öhlins forks and shock up there. To cool, doesn't it?
Again, some of the motorcycle influence. He's also working on a new project, a new motorcycle project. Well, it looks very cool. So from the mountain bike brands getting involved in motorcycles to the motorcycle brands getting involved in e-mountain bikes, that's the big news this week. Our focus here is on the G12. This is a crazy fast e-motorbike, Chris?
It's pretty much an e-motorcycle, yeah. It's crazy fast. I have had very scary moments on this bike.
When you say crazy fast, how fast?
70 kilometers an hour, and it can apparently, that's limited to 70k. It can go 100k, I think, is the top speed, or just over 100 kilometers an hour, just on the touch of a button, basically. Just
tell me, what's this actually like, riding at 70 kilometers an hour on what is essentially a mountain bike?
To me, it felt just like riding a motorbike like I do at home. On the road, it was crazy, but the actual torque from the motor was insane. That pickup on it simply cannot be replicated by a petrol bike, I don't think.
Chris, let's go into the numbers here then. Now, I understand that it's a 12 kilowatt motor.
That's correct.
I mean, that's maximum power. Obviously, nominal is about, I think it's about 7 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Compare that to the bikes that we ride, which are 250 watts nominal, or it varies between some bikes and others, which it's normally about sort of 600 watts.
Totally different beast.
That's like an insane amount of power.
Yeah, it is crazy amount of power.
So obviously you need to be street legal to ride it, and that obviously varies in whatever country you live in. Chris, very quickly, let's have a look at Greyp's other bike, which is the G6. It's loads lighter, it's obviously got less battery, it's got 700 watt hour battery, but it's got a great range as well. It's got a 250 watt motor on there. And it's got some insane tech in terms of the app and stuff.
I saw that front and rear live cameras, isn't it? You can record your ride.
Yeah.
Location, it knows the location. It's got an inbuilt SIM card as well, isn't it, to it? So it's a pretty crazy machine.
But what we're saying here is, what we've got here is e-bike, and what we've got here is e-mountain bike. So what would you say to people who want to buy an e-mountain bike?
Well, I think if you're heading into the mountains, then you definitely need to be on an e-mountain bike. However, if you want to have a load of fun, look cool flying down the street, an e-moto or an e-bike is a load of fun. But if you're going to take that thing off-road, you either need to have a serious set of skills or a serious strong set of legs to be pushing it up the hill, because it's not a lot of fun. Whereas this will absolutely slay it all day long.
For us, it's G6 every day of the week.
So following on from that, the actual reason we were at Greyp Bike was creating a video that's coming out on this Sunday, e-motorbike versus e-mountain bike. What was the king of the hill? 70 kilometers an hour versus 25 kilometers an hour. Tune in.
Yeah, that certainly was a killer video. Now, before that, on Friday, we've got how to hire an e-mountain bike when you're on holiday. So that's an alternative to flying with your mountain bike. And on Monday, we've got a giveaway, a monster giveaway, Park Tool Chest, which is probably, what, Chris, the size of this table?
Bigger than this table.
I mean, you've got to check that video out and get involved and, get yourself a chance to win that masterpiece of a toolbox. But enough about us. What have you guys been up to in the last few weeks? Well, to continue the Croatian theme, this is Oggy, Julie and Ruby out with their owners in the hills around Zagreb and the Husqvarna e-mountain bikes. Good to see the family out in the hills. Meanwhile, back in New South Wales, Australia, this is Ken and his wife out in their fat bikes.
It's cool, isn't it? And got Chris here, he's out on the Specialized Kenevo 2020, testing it out. He's getting some cool shots for us. Look at these mist and drone shots as well, getting a bit of action, trying out that new Kenevo with his friends.
Nice and Chris. Yeah. Thanks for sending your pictures in. Don't forget to continue to send your action from whatever part of the world you're on. On.
Well, Steve, you definitely seemed to set the internet on fire last week with the new video, E-Bike Haters.
Yeah, well, Henry at GMBN is a self-proclaimed e-mountain bike hater, but loads of comments. Those are really positive, well thought out arguments here. First one by David Dunlop. It's an internal psychological battle between technological advancements and tradition. Not just Henry, but many, including myself, until I open my eyes a little.
That's what it's about, isn't it? Getting in there, getting out on an e-bike and actually experience it rather than, looking through those glasses from the outside. Digital Gravedigger, he's saying best way to convince anyone is to ask the right questions. Do you prefer a typewriter or a computer? So many different analogies for this, isn't there?
Yeah, so many analogies. How do you guys get around the world? Do you row your boats across the Atlantic or do you get on an aeroplane? I don't know. And this finally from Letney, who says you can ride down a trail at 30 miles an hour on a regular bike, but riding up them is damaging the trail. Wow, this whole business of trail damage. You've only got to go to the woods and see that we've got the forestry ploughing the woods up with their massive harvesting machines.
Even ruts like this deep.
Yeah, sometimes you can get like 3-4 foot ruts. So mountain bikers, it doesn't matter, it's a crazy argument.
Exactly.
Now, on the subject of what you guys have been doing, Francis Marasigan has been making a widget for his bike stand and his new Intense bike with a Fox dropper post. Now, this shows a little bit of ingenuity in terms of maintaining your bike. Really neat touch here, I think, Chris.
Yeah, he's got busy with his 3D printer, got a little plan in there. He's basically made a clamp that goes around the seat post and clips into these seat rails as well. So just getting a bit more support on the actual clamp area, because when you're working your e-bike in a work stand, it is quite a touchy subject. Should you hold it onto the dropper? Should you put it on the frame? But this kind of covers that base and gets a dropper post in there.
Absolutely. I think, working on a touch stand, working on a stand for me is a touchy subject, I can tell you. So what are the top 10 bikes in this week's Bike Vault, which for the first time ever will culminate with a podium set of bike pictures.
Nice.
So, starting with the top 10, Chris.
We're off with Mark. He's early in the morning. He's out on San Francisco Bridge on their brand new shuttles. Look at that.
That's a beautiful brace of bikes, isn't it?
Love it.
Meanwhile, out in Claremont in California, this is Jerry with his decoy. Nice and dry and dusty out there, Chris.
Yeah, and this one, getting a bit crafty with the framing on this one. This is ex-roadie David getting all arty with his Trek Powerfly in Ontario.
Meanwhile, back in the UK in Gisborne Forest, this is Ash and his Kenevo Expert. It's looking very, what's the word? Equatorial?
Green. Very green. We've got Paul here. He's got an amazing shot of his custom Kenevo. He's just putting in those final touches with some graphics and new parts. Looking really nice.
This is a nice one, Chris. This is Frederick S. On his Conway out in Hokksund in Norway. Bit more of an urban environment there, but still very cool.
Big lake. And lastly, we've got this one in from Jamie on a Specialized Turbo Levo comp riding at Comox Lake in Vancouver Island, BC. Yeah. He's got a trail pup as well, Indy, so just getting that to be a trail dog.
Some amazing photographs this week from all over the world, actually truly outstanding. But there can only be one podium set of e-bikes. So, in third place, we have Jason, ex-rugby player Jason, with his Trek Powerfly on his train into Brighton.
Nice. And in second place, you've got Tony in New Zealand on his Giant. He's got a balance in the stream somehow. Either clever on Photoshop,
very
clever. Got some good balancing skills.
Because we can't see any sticks there or anything.
No, I wonder where that's gone.
I think a classic mountain bike environment, right? Nice kind of stream riding.
Yeah.
But the bike of the week, the first ever Bike Vault podium winner, is Jose out in the Azores with his Specialized Levo.
Amazing.
What an incredible location.
Look at that lake in the background.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Well done, Jose.
Yeah, don't forget, if you want to get involved, use the upload service and it could be you winning next week's new Bike Vault.
So that's it for this week's EMBN show. Let's know your thoughts, what you think about the Greyp bikes out in Croatia. Now, they're very clear that they want to make new technology for the future of e-mountain biking, just in the same way as they made all that tech from the Rimac cars, which got transferred across to the likes of Porsche, to Aston Martin, AMG, a really, really interesting company.
Yeah, also let us know your thoughts on the new Bike Vault as well. Did that work for you? Do you want to be on the podium next week?
Do you indeed? If you want to stay with us, don't forget to check out the haters video, which we talked about earlier. And also there's the Pedelec versus S-Pedelec, which me and Chris did out in Lake Garda.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the globe in the middle to subscribe to EMBN. And whilst you're there, hit the notification bell to get a notification every time we upload on the channel to make sure you're not missing out. We shall see you next week.
Ding, ding.